Well, in case you missed my little 1 minute update last time around, I've been kind of sick. But not so sick that I can't give you another update today here on the MT and Me. Glad you could join us again here on the MT and Me. If you have... Oh, wait a minute. It's strange having to wear one of these things again. So, anyway, if you saw the last video, you know I was feeling a little ill by the end of it. And then I did you a nice little 1 minute quickie update about a day or two later, telling you I had flunked my COVID test, which indeed I did. So after almost 3 years and getting all of my shots and inoculations like I needed to and being careful and seems like wearing a mask forever, I finally came down with a bout of COVID. Turned out it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I had 2 or 3 days of feeling pretty rough, but then I started getting better and my fever went away, and went to see my doctor and they tested me and I was negative by then. I had done home tests that came out positive, and then I tested negative. So basically they said, well, you know, having the inoculations probably saved you from having a bad bout with this disease. So there's that. Any of you who haven't gotten those shots, go get them, because they can make things easier even if you do get sick later on with it. Okay. So to make a long story short, I've spent, you know, most of the last week or so feeling better. I was off work for a few days, and now I have to wear a mask in public for, the next 10 days or so, just to be sure I don't infect anybody else, which I certainly don't want to do, because I tell you, those couple of days I felt bad, they were tough. I haven't felt that bad in a while, so COVID is nothing to mess with. You need to respect it, and by all means do what's necessary to avoid it, and if you come down with it, take care of yourself and see a physician, get some medical treatment for it, okay? Because it's nothing to fool around with. But I'm feeling much better now, thank you very much. Now, the downside to all that is that being sick and the fact that we also had an ice storm here in the Mid-South that made things a total mess for most of the week. You take those two factors together, and I did not get a darn thing done here on Pearl. This is the first time I've been in her in pretty much a week or more. So there's not a whole lot of progress to report. In fact, there's not any progress to report. But I didn't just sit around sick, biding my time. No. I watched videos, I did some research online, I've been making plans about what I need to do to Pearl, and I realized one very important thing here that I need to point out right off the bat. First of all, I was watching a video about a guy who's working on a motor, you know, and he was putting the putting the valve covers back on, which I have done on Pearl's engine, you know. We've got them all cleaned up, shiny blue and everything, and I've just, the last couple of weeks, you know, redid the spark plug wires and all that stuff. And in the process of doing all that, it never occurred to me until I watched this video that I have never bought new valve cover gaskets for Pearl. This is fairly important because we don't want that leaking whenever we do start the engine sometime in the near future. So anyway, that's been a big step this week, ordering some valve cover gaskets so that we can get them put in on Pearl. It's a simple matter. We have to take the covers off, put the gaskets in place. Maybe, I don't know, there's kind of two schools of thought about using RTV sealant on them. Some guys say, yeah, you need to, and other people say, no, you just need the gasket. So it's kind of hit or miss. I have some sealant if I decide to use it, so we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it. But the main thing is get the gaskets and get them in there and get those valve covers sealed back up the way they should be before we go any further about trying to make the engine turn over or do something, okay? So I quite frankly am a little embarrassed that I forgot about them completely, and but I'm certainly glad that something reminded me here. Maybe if nothing else comes out of a week of being sick, that's a good thing. So anyway, we'll get the valve covers taken care of next. And if you remember the last video, I spent most of it looking for a suitable tray for a battery that I could put in. Well, I found something, but you know what? The more I've thought about it, the more I said, well, it's really not made for the job, and it's kind of flimsy, so I've just decided I'm going to buy a battery tray for Pearl. There's a bazillion of them out there on the market. They're all basically the same size and do the same thing, so it's just a question of picking the one that's going to fit the best in my application here, and if I can find one that's actually designed for a 1977 Dodge van, that's cool. If not, there are plenty of others that I'm sure will do the trick. I just have to be sure I can mount it in place. The original tray was welded in place as part of the manufacturing process, so that tray is all rusted away. So I may have to look at welding something else in place. I'm thinking now that I can probably maybe drill some holes and rivet it in place. That's the current thinking, but that's another bridge to cross here in the next week or two once I find the tray that I'm going to use. So those are the two big things that are looming in the near future here on Pearl. First of all, get that valve covers taken care of, get those gaskets put in so I can have that over and done with, and move on from that. And then go ahead and get the battery tray put in as well, because we're ready. If we get a tray there, someplace to set a battery, we are ready to get a battery, drop it into place, and start doing some electrical testing. I'm not just going to hook everything up, turn the key, and see what happens, because there's a little more wiring that we need to check out before we do something like that. I don't want to short anything out. I don't want to cause any sparks or fires or anything along those lines. So we'll do some more electrical checking, but we have to have a battery to do that. Okay, so get the tray, get the battery, get the valve covers done. The starter, you have to get put back in place before it will even think about starting the engine. So that'll be on the install list sometime in the near future as well. It's a good thing that I'm feeling better, because obviously I have a whole lot to do here in the near future. Now, we're not doing any of it today, but I did want to give you an update, let you know I am feeling much better. Thank you very much. Still going to be wearing a mask for another 5 to 10 days, at least whenever I'm out in public. And other than that, I think I've come through my COVID experience and will be recovering just fine. And by next time around, this next week, we'll get out here and be doing some work on Pearl to share with you. So kind of short and sweet this time, and not a lot of excitement. But like I said, between being sick and having an ice storm, well, I guess we made through things pretty good. Thanks a lot for all of the get well comments and best wishes from you. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate each and every one of you staying with us here on the MT and Me. Subscribe if you haven't, thumbs up, keep watching and liking the videos, and join us again next week when maybe we'll actually get something done on Pearl. Fingers crossed, as always. Till then, I'm Russ, feeling better. Thank you for watching. We will talk later. Mask up, ready to go.